Hello, welcome back to the Live Rally Games podcast. My name is Steven Stewart, and I'm back with more Surviving Reelfoot unfinished business content. And today we are talking with Taylor. Taylor, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. School starts back up for me Monday, so I'm dreading it. But other than that, things are going well.
So this is the best way to bookend your summer, right? We have Reelfoot at the beginning and more Reelfoot at the end.
Exactly.
We were talking a little bit before we started that this is a unique game for you because you did not walk out injured.
Right. It's the first game in a while I haven't been hurt, and so thankful for that, I guess.
I mean, we were joking, like, if you injure yourself, there would inevitably be a challenge that required you using the injured limb, and you would somehow win that challenge anyway. So maybe it's just a good thing that there weren't any injuries to start that to begin with.
Yeah, the other players can be thankful for that because I would have still won them.
So we last got the chat 2 years ago for Surviving Reelfoot Bluff Ranch. How have things been going with you since then?
Well, I got my knee repaired. I've been through 2 years of law school since then. When we talked last time, I was just about to start, and now I'm going into my last year. So it's kind of crazy. It's been a minute, but things are going well. Just kind of living the good old Indianapolis life. Nothing too crazy. I have 3 cats now, so it's a lot. When I started
will
this
they make
season,
an on-screen appearance?
Probably. So probably all at different times. I like to just jump up, so I'm sure you'll see them.
Do you feel like your legal training has changed your understanding of Survivor, or you came into Survivor just a different mentality from law school?
I think even before law school, I'm a pretty, the way I think is more logical over emotional. So I think I've kept that through my law school journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it probably has not helped with the way I read people and analyze situations. I probably analyze them even more now because people sue and get sued over literally everything. So I feel like I'm always, especially in the games, thinking about all the what ifs.
Did you read the entire liability waiver you signed from start to finish?
I did. Pete actually just handed it to me. He's like, I know you're actually going to read it. Let me know your thoughts. And I did. I don't know why. I just feel like I have to read every single words.
Well, have you had a chance to play any other games since Reelfoot?
Yeah, I actually also played Ascendance Live. I'll do a quick shout out. That is a great series. It is its own unique format. Mm-hmm. Every round you could be split into different teams, and there's different twists, but inevitably at one point or another you're going to be going to eliminations with different groups every time. So if you are someone who likes to play a game and are great at adapting, I would definitely highly recommend Ascendance. They pretty much have apps out all the time, so I love that game. I got second to Marcelo, who's a great winner. I really enjoyed playing that game, and if you want to watch my season, go back and watch season 3 on YouTube. I'm just as monotone there as I am now.
Well, so coming out of Survivor Reelfoot Bluff Ranch and your gameplay in Ascendance, I was like, wow, I'm blanking the name already. This is terrible. How did you feel coming into a new season of Reelfoot? What were your takeaways from those games that you learned about yourself?
In my original season of Reelfoot, I felt like I was playing such a great game where it just came down to a challenge loss. And in Ascendance, I had to watch all the episodes as the predicted winner from the start, and even to that last episode. And I watched in the end how it can really truly come down to speech. And I am a very big I always usually focus on just the gameplay. I don't get that emotional, but I think Ascendance, I really learned that we all have feelings, and while we like to hear about the game, people also like to hear what games mean to you and get real personal. So I think in this season of Reelfoot, I actually opened up a lot more with people on the cast about things I usually don't talk about, and it was kind of nice because everyone calls me Stone Cold bitch, which I kind of am, but I think it has really helped me as a person to be it's okay to get vulnerable. Everyone's going through things, and so I will say that's my biggest takeaway.
So in U.S. Survivor, oftentimes lawyers who come on the show tend to lie about their job, right? Because they're worried about the perception and that they'll be good at verbal arguments at the end of the game. Do you feel there's truth to that?
I think that sometimes, yeah, I think it's true. And people are like, oh, lawyers are so smart and everything. I think it's hard in this community when you don't know if anyone's seen your face to lie about that. And I think
Mhm.
for me, it's been nice to be like, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a law student. Like, hey, let's back
Whoa,
up
whoa,
here.
not threatening
Oh, I'm
here.
not a lawyer.
I haven't passed the bar yet.
So yeah, I haven't passed the bar. Like, who knows? But yeah, I think I just try and I don't know. I show people I'm a real person, not just like a game bot in a sense. And so far, I feel like it hasn't ever come down to like, let's get this lawyer out over someone else who, isn't doing something like that. I don't know. So far, it has not ever hindered me, I don't think.
Well, was there anything you did to prepare for Reelfoot?
No.
You just rolled in.
I did just I mean, I was like working out more and making sure because I feel like before you have a major injury, you like kind of just flail your body and do all sorts of things, don't think about it. But since I've hurt my knee, I feel like I'm always getting like nervous, especially on uneven ground. And so I was trying to really like strengthen my knee and my
Mhm.
quads and make sure that like, I don't know. I was actually just really nervous about re-injuring my knee.
So a couple days before the game begins, you receive the cast list, and there are a fair amount of players from your original season. Do you mind if we talk to them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about Frank. I don't believe you were ever on a tribe with them. Were you?
I was on a try
For
with
the
him and
swap?
I was responsible for helping get him out. Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually so in the original season, Frank and I got swapped on a tribe, and our tribe ended up losing, and I was swapped into a minority. So there was a majority like original purple, and then not so there was minority of Carlton. And basically in that round where Frank had left, he kind of came to camp and was like, we're not going to be doing one-on-ones. We're not doing this. There's like no point. Like it is what it is. You guys have to see like from our perspective, like one of you guys has to go. And I
Mhm.
was just like, I remember sitting there like, great. Like I think it could be me. This is not good. But luckily, like Frank went off to do like Frank things, building something. I don't know. And I think that his other tribe mates at that point in that game were kind of maybe like over like his like leadership. I don't really know what it was. When you're sleeping in the woods and have nothing, things irritate you more than maybe normal. And so any little thing kind of helped. And they agreed to vote Frank. And so by like a saving grace, I was part of the Frank blind side and got to argue with him at tribal. I love Frank so much.
So
Um,
have you kept in touch with Frank since the game?
yeah, for sure.
Talk to me about Lydia, because you definitely spent a lot of time with Lydia in the game.
So Lydia, on my original season was like the one that got away, and it was just really unfortunate situations because when I first got to my car broke down on the way to Reelfoot. I was the last person there. And then in that season, people got to mingle. They weren't separated. So
Mhm.
I was missing out on time. And even though I was still 30 minutes early in the gap, I was the last one there. And I just had a really bad feeling. And then we got to original tribe. I immediately got hurt and I was in the bottom. And then the elements started taking a toll on Lydia a bit that round. And she ended up going, but I was always rooting for her to come back because I truly wanted to work with her.
Mhm.
Like, had we had the numbers the round that Lydia went the first time to not go, I totally would have done it. I liked Lydia the most on that tribe at the very beginning. So when she came back, I was excited, but it was kind of a weird thing because like I was one of the people that they were trying to pull over to flip at merge,
Mhm.
and I just like couldn't do it because of it was just a really weird public situation. So like everyone was gonna know that I was flipping, and sometimes like when there are flippers, at some point it's easy just to be like, let's get them out and like get back to
Mhm.
what we are going like back and forth. And so that game was really hard because there was one challenge I had to like send her back to camp when everyone was getting rewards at merge. And I just kept telling her, I was like, we're gonna do this. And I was never able to do it for her. Because I felt like I would just have tanked my own game and I already
Mhm.
was like becoming a threat at merge when I started winning things on my hurt knee.
Mhm.
It was a bummer. So I was so excited to see Lydia was in this cast.
Talking about Skylar, because Skylar and you, I know we're on the same tribe, right? You started in opposite tribes, you swapped to different tribes. Had you had a chance to interact with Skylar post game?
So Skylar and I we never got to play our first season together, but we were able to be on prod for season 10. So we got to hang out, and I love her. She is an amazing person. She's like beautiful on the inside and out. And I was excited for the chance to play with Skylar. I felt had we maybe started together, we really would have been able to do some damage.
Now, Carlos mutinies onto your swap tribe, and you end up voting him out at the merge.
I don't.
Oh, you don't. So
I never voted out Carlos.
So who'd you vote for at the merge there? I need to look at the wiki.
I threw a vote and like pegged it on someone else.
Let's see.
I might have voted Chris. I did not want Carlos to go.
You voted Ronnie.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you don't vote out Carlos.
I don't vote out Carlos.
Yeah, talking about Carlos, what were your interactions with him like in the game and post game?
So Carlos was actually my very first host of my very first org. And yeah, so I was like wanting the chance to work with him in our first season. Carlos just like never really got his like footing in our first season. I feel like no one really gave him a chance. And by the time he might have gotten a chance at merge, like he ended up being a casualty. And I was really bummed about it because I was like, we're going to roll together. So when I found out he was playing this season, I was like, yep, Carlos and I are working together.
And finally, Todd, the Todd father returns. And Todd was a player that was that merge though he doesn't do. He's unable to woo you over to flip, and becomes minority after that.
The problem was like that would have been such a fun round to flip. I'm all about the chaos. The problem was that like he called like us a group together in the middle of camp, and so it was all original purple, and then like me and Mike, and then you include Lydia in that. She had been out, so she wasn't on the Carlton side of merge. So when he called that, I was just like, I wish he would have told me through the grapevine and not in front of everyone, because at that point, like, it's not going to be any surprise what happened. And so if powers are played or things change the next round, like, I'm not going to be in good graces with the original Carlton, and I'm kind of at the bottom of that group anyways. So I was looking forward to seeing how Todd's gameplay was going to change from that season to season 11.
Look, so you mentioned that Carlos hosted your very first org. When was that?
Fall of 2018, 2019.
Okay. So were there any other players that you had maybe encountered through production or through different orgs that were on this season?
I knew a lot of people. I have become very close in real life friends. Like Reynolds is like my best friend. One of them. I become really close with Amber. We had like just went on a cruise together in December.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So there were a lot of people. I'm kind of like blanking on all the cast. Like I had seen all of season 10 people play. People had like known my game, which I'm sure we will get into when we talk about round 1 and 2 of this game, because that seemed to be like an issue or a topic, was like my threat level.
I think people were aware of those connections and were bringing those up against you.
Of course, which is why I love playing a game where I don't know anyone, and it just I don't know if it'll ever happen again, but I am hopeful.
I think you can. It's just it could be challenging, right? It needs to be a game with a deep cast pool that's pulling people who haven't had a chance to play orgs or other live games, and maybe in a different region.
Right.
I know if we're talking to people who are in kind of the Northeast, it's like it is a small world, and so that those players frequently will encounter each other again at other games in the area where people kind of go and play multiple games, and that becomes a challenge. But I can, when you mentioned that you live in Indianapolis, I can now see why like Surviving Bloomington is like someday maybe.
Yeah, it's like an hour away from me, and I watched the game. I was supposed to play the game before, and like I'm ready to like, even if I just go and watch, like I just want to see Survivor Bloomington. It seems like a great game. I will also shamelessly plug that here too.
I'm hoping they do a live premiere or something for the next season. I am tempted to fly the Indy and drive the Bloomington. So if that happens, I will be letting you know.
Yes, definitely. It was like
So,
8 minutes from the airport.
oh my gosh, the dream. Looking at the cast, was there anyone that you were nervous about or you were unsure about?
I guess I need to pull up the
Yeah,
cast.
I can just say names and you can tell me your
Yeah,
thoughts.
I don't know why
Sebastian.
I forgot him. A wild card to me. There were a lot of wild cards to me in this game. I didn't know who Adam was. I didn't
Mhm.
know who Brent was.
Yeah, the season
Um,
8 players.
yeah, season 10, I didn't know if they were gonna like gang up together. I
Mhm.
actually like really wanted to work with Sharif and I really wanted to work with Megan. And even Carly. Like there were a lot of people I wanted to work with,
Mhm.
which made it hard for me because I was like, this is gonna crumble so fast because I'm going to have to vote some of these people out.
Yeah,
But
when I was talking to Sharif, he was like, every vote I was having to vote out options, and it was hard for him.
yeah, just trying to see if
So
I'm like a visual person.
Clark, Nate,
So
Jay, Corey.
Nate was someone I was excited to play for. I felt like Nate was going to be kind of, I had no idea how Nate was going to play. Nate's kind of like sometimes comedic, like he just is always making jokes, but he was someone I was like, hey, we might work together if we like maybe start together. I didn't really know how deep I thought Nate would make it. Um, Josh was someone I wanted to work with. We played an org together like a long time ago when he was like, I don't even know if he was 18. And he was like in some sort of like private school where they took his phone and like it was like we got to pick our tribe name and he wanted to name like Beans or Harambe or something. And I was like, who is this kid? And then he got his phone taken and we lost a challenge. So we got out. But then I got to see him in real fun. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's like totally grown up and like grasped the game a lot more. And he's, like he understands auras, he understands how it works. And so I was excited to see him like actually play. And I felt like our games could align. Trying to think about, yeah. So
You have Tony. Did you meet him when he was a handler?
I did. So Tony was a handler my season, and he does all the great posts on Facebook.
Mhm.
I wasn't really sure if our games would align. I wasn't really sure. He was kind of someone I was like kind of nervous for. I was like, I don't know. He watched me play,
Mhm.
so he made me a little bit nervous. May made me a little bit nervous. She got to watch me play, but I thought that like we could work together. And then I was actually really looking forward to working with Austin. I don't know. I actually was like wanting to like I felt like I had so many paths with like the players, I guess.
Was there anyone you were hoping to see there that wasn't there?
Um there are a lot of like alum I feel like I wish I like could have
Mhm.
played there. I think alum I recognized or knew would have been best, but like I was scared of people who like names I didn't recognize because I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know what they know about me and I know
Yeah.
nothing about them.
He just assumed they know everything about me and I know nothing about them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the season, that because it drew so heavily from the past 3 seasons, it was helpful in that, like, those games had been all live streamed, very public, and there was information out there about it.
Right.
So you get to the game begins. You learn the season's called Unfinished Business, and I have to wonder what do you feel like your unfinished business was in the season?
Winning. Honestly, I felt like I played I was able to play hard my first season and be clocked, but also like find an idol and win challenges. So I just felt like the last thing for me to do was win. When I went to the jury room my first season, I just was told like we were rooting for you, like you had it. And so I knew that my unfinished business was to get the win that I think I could have gotten my first season and I was ready to do it again this time.
So you also learned the shot in the dark is in play. That there's going to be some elements from post season 40 Survivor. What were your thoughts coming in on shot in the dark?
Like it, I think it's a cool twist. Obviously, in our season, I don't know how it came to use. It saved some people. So I'm all about a twist like that. For me, I really don't like giving up a vote, and so
Mhm.
I don't know if I would have used mine, but I'm all about a good twist. I like getting people to use. I probably would have done more to get people to waste theirs than I would to like use mine, but I thought it was a cute twist, especially in a game of returnees. There's gonna be lots of paranoia, so
Mhm.
I was expecting people to use them like crazy.
Yeah, so you end up on the red tribe, that Chila tribe.
Can't get
Looking
away from red.
looking around you, I know, right? It's in your blood, literally. Looking at your tribe, what did you think? What was your first impression?
I was okay, so I don't know like how I got put with Lydia, but I was like, all right, Lydia and I are so good. And then I was also with Carlos, and um to be honest, I like the night before the game, I like me, Carlos, and Amber, like, and Reynolds had like met in Nashville to finish the drive. So like
Mhm.
we kind of all knew we were gonna work together. So the fact
Mhm.
that I was with Carlos, I was like, okay, perfect. And then there's Sharif, someone who I was like, I really admired his game in season 10. Like, I am going to work with Sharif. I had actually told Dr. Stan, I was like, I hope Sharif is playing. I'm going to play with Sharif.
Mhm.
So I was pretty excited to see how the try broke down. I knew that I at least had Lydia and Carlos on my side, and I thought there was a pretty good chance I could get Sharif as well. So that was like my original like thoughts of who I wanted to work with. I did kind of talk to everyone, and like my talks in the beginning, they just confirmed who I thought I wanted to work with was who I wanted to work with. So
Well, you have three players who kind of dub wild cards, right? So, well, you have
yeah.
Clark, who you don't know as much about. You have Sebastian, who just said was a wild card too, and then you have Tony, right? Who you actually had met through when he was a tribe hunter.
Yeah. So Tony was someone I thought that we could maybe play together at the beginning, but very quickly I noticed him. He would say things like, Taylor, you remember when you found that idol like your first season? Or just like he would know things from past people's games. And so at first I was like, oh, that's like innocent. But then I was just like, you know what? Like this is totally like on purpose.
Mhm.
So I was just like, I am distancing myself because I feel like Tony was like he was good at using information against people and saying it in like a lighthearted way. So I felt like as soon as that happened, I was like, like, okay, I'm gonna like he just wasn't like the top of my list. And as far as Bash goes, I feel like no one really ever knows. Yes,
That's
thank you. Because I seriously was like, Taylor, you are so like in your head. He's just like saying things that happen. And I was like, no, he's totally doing this like to drop seeds about people. And I was just like, no, we're not gonna do this. So I was like, I felt like I was having to bite my lip really hard with Tony because I was just like eye rolling so hard in the back of my head when he did that. And then when it came to Bash, Bash was so great for camp life. But we just didn't like I don't really truly understand his gameplay from what I've seen and when I've played with him. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just different, I guess. I don't know. I just have never been in a spot where like I was really trying to work with him, so that could also be the difference. So Bash was someone I was just like kind of like, yeah, how's it going? Blah, blah blah. And he also really likes to watch people like walk off and like note it. I'm like, this is a game. Like people are gonna walk off and talk. Like if you don't like it, go intrude. Like don't get mad about it. Like you can like barge into any conversation you want. So it was just odd. And then Clark, I tried talking to Clark. I thought Clark and I could maybe work together as somewhat like a maybe not
Mhm.
be as expected, but Clark seemed to have his mind made up about me, and never really even gave me a chance. So, uh,
And so I guess I want to talk about the first reward challenge, right? So you have this opening reward challenge that involves awards unscrambled at the very end. How was that challenge for you?
oh, it was so good because I was part of the puzzle
Hmm.
at the very end, and we were like killing it on the puzzle at the end. It was me, Lydia, and Clark.
Hmm.
And we like had really started getting into there quick. And I will credit Clark and Lydia for like doing the early work, but I felt really great because I like put it together at the very end. I was like, oh, and I put it together. So I just felt like that's good. Like I feel like they can see that I will
Hmm.
be an asset for at least like puzzle types. I just like confirm that. And also winning the first reward challenge just adds to try morale so heavy. Like, it shows you can work together, whereas, like, if you're on a losing streak with rewards and get to the first immunity, you can, like, go in as, like, fierce as you want and be like, we're gonna kill this, but, like, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, like, we've lost everything beforehand. So to win the first challenge, we didn't have to worry, you know, all the other tribes are walking back like, shit, are we gonna be able to, like, work together? And, like, we were like, we can work together. So it was so nice.
So you head back to camp after that challenge, and what are your plans upon arrival at camp?
My plan number one is to get to Sharif as fast as I can and let him know that I will be his girl and I will tell him everything. I just wanted to show that trust with Sharif early because
Mhm.
Sharif is a very paranoid player. I saw it in season 10. I could see it in his eyes that it was going to happen in season 11. So I just really wanted to talk to him and I really wanted to talk to Lydia because I already, like, Carlos, like, should have known at that point. And I just wanted Lydia to know, like, it's time to touch base. I didn't get to, like, prove myself to you in season 9. Like, let me do it this season. Like, I've got your back. I'll tell you everything. They're going to assume because everyone assumes there's a girls' alliance when there's not. I was like, we would talk, but I was just like, if I'm, like, distancing myself, just know, like, I will always, like, come back and, like, catch you up. So, like, Lydia and I were good. She let me know that, like, her and Frank had this thing where, like, Frank was, like, gonna protect Josh if Lydia protected Sharif. So I was like, this is perfect because I want to work with Sharif. So I was like, okay, so if Lydia's got Sharif and I have Lydia and I got Carlos, like, I'm good. So I just really wanted to solidify numbers right away, with the people I didn't know, but also, like, really let the people who I wanted to work with know that I wanted to work with them.
So a couple thoughts. This season had an uneven gender ratio between men and women competing,
Usual.
which is something you do see in these games. And I think it's just there tends to be deeper casting pool for male contestants than female contestants, and also when people drop out, etc. Right? So is there anything you can do about, let's say you're on a tribe that there are 8 players, 6 men, 2 women, and like there's immediately people are looking at the 2 women both as like, oh, they're gonna work with each other, or oh, like, hey, we need to
Weakest
put out the
links.
weakest player, right? Which people tend to target female players for. Like, what is there anything that you can think that people should do when they're in these situations?
It's just frustrating in general because I should not have to prove myself more than, like,
Mm-hmm.
the male sex counterpart to me. Like, I feel like if you are showing up for your tribe, it should not matter. There's, like, you don't, who, I don't know. I can talk about this for a while, but actually in this season, it was so frustrating because, like, I don't know. I think it was Bash and maybe Clark. It was Bash, Clark. I don't know who exactly it was. It started somewhere in that 3, and Lydia and I got pegged as, we're too tight. We're too tight because we went to the bathroom together at night after Lydia had, like, a giant spider on her leg, and none of us wanted to go to the bathroom alone. And it was just like, they were like, yeah, they're saying you're talking too much. I'm like, why does no one say that about you guys? Like, there's literally 4 of you guys and, or yeah, 5 of you guys and 2 of us. So, like, why is it that when we talk for the slightest bit, it's just eyes are on us so much more? I think it's frustrating. So my advice, just get these men out, because if you get them out, then they can't talk. I don't know. I really don't know. It's really, I really think, like, there should be a strong emphasis on having balanced casts for that reason. Um, I know that this season did have an even number originally, and it definitely was not that way when we showed up. But it's just, I I don't know. I feel like it's really hard to do that when people get that in their minds. I've been in an org where they called themselves the Mendoza Men, and they picked off the first 2 girls who literally were, like, the only reason we almost didn't lose. So it's just weird. I don't know. Have more women on a tribe. That's what I can say.
So one thing that happens in this season is it really kind of ends up being Sharif on one side and Amber Reynolds on the other side, right? Both sets of people you wanted to work with, right? And it seems that you would have likely gone down the Amber Reynolds track. Is that correct?
So if for what situation?
If you
Just
were if you were torn between Sharif versus Amber Reynolds, which side would you end up having to choose?
I think that that was the worst part of this
Hmm.
season for me is that I was always going to put my real life friends ahead for this particular season.
Yeah.
I knew how much this game meant to Reynolds. He's been the tribe handler from pretty much the start. And Amber has been so ready for it. I felt like of the three of us, their hearts were so much more in it. And I felt like I was in such a good game position that they screwed that all up for me. And I kind of just let it happen. Love you guys, but like they were not helpful to my game. But at the end of the day, the safer route would have been going with like the new people that I really wanted to work with.
Hmm.
Um, but I was always going to go for Amber and Reynolds. I was never going to switch up on them ever.
Let's say you know with perfect knowledge that it's going to come to a head between like Megan Sharif versus Amber Reynolds come merge. Do you think there's a world where you can try to take out Sharif on the starting tribe, or Sharif is just too insulated for that?
On the starting tribe,
Yeah.
um, no, I don't think there was a world where Sharif would have gone. No one, Clark and Tony were not, and Bash were not going to take out Sharif because they were having a boys' alliance, from what I heard. And Lydia was, I don't think would have taken out Sharif. I just don't think we would have ever gotten Sharif out.
So one of the things that happens in the first couple minutes of the game is Carlos finds the idol. And for you and your approach to this game, was the idol something you were actively looking for? And did you hear information about when it was found?
He told me immediately. He like licked it to me immediately. And so then it was so funny when people were like telling me because I was like, what? But I knew. He told me he like licked it and I was just like, perfect. I stopped looking immediately. I didn't really look to begin with. He honestly found it within like seconds that we got to tribe, I swear. So I just like I really didn't even look. And I love finding idols. They're fun. But no, I didn't look and I felt a lot more comfortable. So
So how did the rest of that first day go?
Um, the first did I can't remember.
So you had the
The
reward
first
challenge. You go
night,
back to camp and just kind of chill, set up camp, and get to know each other.
I think it's pretty chill.
Hmm.
I don't really exactly remember like when the conversations start picking up, like when Tony offers me an alliance, but I'm pretty sure night one was chill. I think it started the next day. But if per se that Tony did mention this alliance that he wanted to be in the first night, which was like the whole reason he says he can't trust me, from my perspective of things, we were towards the entrance of our tribe camp and we're talking and like I actually am like trying to talk game with Tony.
Hmm.
And he mentions wanting to be in alliance with me, him, Lydia, and I could not tell if the fourth name that he said was Carlos or Sharif. And
Hmm.
Carlos was conveniently like 10 feet behind us.
Hmm.
So I was like, what? And I couldn't hear him. I was like, huh? So like, I was just like, I kind of like brushed him off, was like, hey, let's talk about this later. Like, why are you trying to like, I think he said Sharif. So I was like, let's just talk about this later. Like, I thought it was weird to like mention a 4-person alliance with someone who's like got the idol and it's like right there. Like, not, you know, it was just weird to me.
Hmm.
And I was never saying I wouldn't do it. And I did tell him, yeah, I'm down. But I was just like, let's talk about this later. And supposedly he thought I was not for it, whatever. That was his reasoning for gunning for me. I'm not convinced that was like the full reason. I
Hmm.
think like Clark saying like I am a good threat to get out early played a role into it. But like I was never like shutting Tony down at that moment.
And the night one, did you have anyone you kind of wanted to start targeting?
Uh Bash.
Just
Well, not really. Actually, I was like at that point, like Bash was not picking up. I was putting down. Clark was not giving me anything back. So I was like, either of those two can go. Like I was fine with it. I at that point I was like, those two going to be best in my game.
Mhm.
If you're gonna talk game with someone you know really quick.
So how was returning to sleeping outside with no
Oh my
sleeping bag,
gosh,
tent, or anything?
it was so cold. We didn't even get luxury items this season. Not that mine helped me last season because I put like all these comfort things. And at the very bottom of my list, I put toothpaste, and that's what they gave me. So it's not like I got like anything great last time. So I was just like, all right, here we go. But Bash was so nice. Like he was like chopping up dirt, making sure that what we laid on was flat. But I will say it was freezing. I thought I prepared better for that. I didn't. Um, Lydia was like, I'm going to take notes from what she brought because she was so prepared. Some people were just so prepared for not being able to bring luxury items. They like really like worked with it. I will say the best thing I did was my poncho doubled into a tarp, so it was like a blanket for me. But other than that, I'm prepared.
So the next morning, you have your second reward challenge. This is the memory match challenge. How was this for you?
Oh my gosh. We ended up like tying this,
Hmm.
but that challenge just takes so long, and like once you start losing, it's kind of hard to catch back up. That challenge, I was just like, yeah, like if we win, we win. But I ended up getting like something that said like you can either like get 2 cookies for yourself or give 1 cookie to someone on your tribe. And I tried giving them to Lydia because Lydia and rice, like they do not go well together. And so I tried to offer it to her and she said no. So like I happily ate the 2 cookies.
What
But
kind of
other than
cookies?
that, it's chocolate chip.
Lydia, how could
Um,
you turn down cookies? I don't
I
understand.
know, I know. I think she just didn't want me to feel like I had to give her something that I won, just because she was not eating rice. But truly, like it was like the first morning, like I was feeling fine. I would rather her have something in her stomach because it was
Hmm.
gonna get hot. But I didn't want her. I didn't want to be like, you have to take
Hmm.
them. So when she said no, like it was like okay. I would have rather had gone something more spicy, but I didn't get the chance. So.
So during this challenge, a set group of players get sent to different tribe camps, and Tony from your tribe gets sent to another tribe. What was that like when he returned?
Um, I was like a little bit nervous because Tony is a wild card and he did, I think, go on a try with someone he had played with before or knew. I can't remember if he was, or he was with Brent and Adam. So I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if he got something. So you can never be like too comfortable when someone gets to like go
Mhm.
somewhere, like you can't have eyes on them. So I was definitely nervous. I was hoping to get sent somewhere or even get sent back to my own camp. Um, so yeah, I was a little bit nervous when Tony came back because I was like, what information do you have?
And so, did you believe what he told him? Did you believe what he told you?
I don't even remember what he told us, but no.
I can't remember which tribe he got sent to. I think he got probably sent to the blue.
Yellow.
Was the
Oh,
no? Yeah, the yellow tribe, the not Frank tribe. Yeah, he got sent to the
yeah.
yellow tribe and kind of watched them scramble for the idol. I think.
Mm. I would never see Tony as someone. I knew Tony was playing really, really hard from like
Mhm.
second, even before the game. I knew he was playing really, really hard. Um, so no, I would have always taken something that Tony said with a grain of salt.
And then you have your third reward challenge, and this is the endurance challenge with the hold up boxes between two players. Did you compete in this?
Yes, and I was like third from last of getting out. Like I was down to the final three. And I don't know why. I think I was just trying to be cocky and show people that my knee wasn't hurt. Because we went for like over an hour, we went for like 2 hours or something crazy before I dropped. Um, unfortunately, I could have gone for longer, even though I don't even know why I was trying so hard for like reward. I don't know. Because I think like they had people drop first, so like we're gonna get this. And then we started losing people, and like people were like dead set on not moving. So I was just like,
Who's your
I think I
partner?
gotta stay in this bash. We were like the knee brace. He had a knee brace on, and so did I. We honestly only felt because like we got too far apart, and like we were like
Mhm.
straight. Like I was just like, this is not. We might as well. I was like, if we're not, I was like, Bash, if you don't think you can win, let's just drop. It's just reward. And finally, like we dropped. But I went for way too long in that, and then it was like the precursor to our losing streak. So we definitely should have dropped sooner.
So, this is kind of mid afternoon, day two. How are you feeling about your tribe? Like, have you had any other strategic conversations with players?
The longer we go on, I'm feeling less and less confident about Clark, Tony, and Bash. They're
Hmm.
not giving me anything. I'm trying. I thought it was, I don't know. I knew that like Carlos told me immediately that he thought Tony saw him grab the idol, or
Hmm.
it's what he told him. So I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And what made me nervous at this point in the game is like I was telling Sharif literally everything. And I was like, I even told him, like, hey, Tony's proposing this alliance. And between me and you, I'm a little weary. And the fact he was like, whoa, like, why are you weary? Made me so, that started my like, shoot. I was telling him this, like, to be like, Liz, I'm telling you everything. And
Mhm.
when he was a little bit weird that I was being weird about Tony, I was like, no, how are they closer than we are?
Mhm.
Because I just didn't see it coming. So then I just started getting a little bit nervous that he was the swinging vote.
Mhm.
Um, but I was still pretty confident at that point too. But I was just a little more nervous.
So anything else you want to talk about before we talk about that first immunity challenge?
No, we're good.
So you have that first immunity challenge that you have people swim, you have some throwing balls in the buckets, and there's a snake puzzle at the very end. Where are you in this challenge?
I was throwing the balls in the bucket. I almost did the puzzle. I just like was not sure about the puzzle, and I knew that like I could. I think it came down to like me and Lydia, either her throwing or me
Mhm.
throw like the puzzle and throwing, and I was just like, I know Lydia can do a puzzle. I figured maybe she could throw. I just knew like I used to like I love cornhole and I used to play
Mhm.
softball, so I was like maybe I should do the throwing just so it doesn't come down to like me and you goofing this challenge.
Mhm.
Like I will let her do the puzzle because she also was like, if it's this puzzle, I've done it before,
Mhm.
and it happened to be that puzzle, so I was like, yes.
Sorry. Unfortunately, your tribe does not win.
No.
Um, and you will be going to the tribal council the following morning. So you have a lot of time to figure out this first vote. What happens when you get back to camp?
Chaos. So it doesn't take long for Carlos to tell me that Tony threw out my name and just told me to act like I didn't know. And so then Tony decides to tell everyone about Carlos's idol, which was like so good because like I was like, well, good for me, but I was just like, at least like the eyes are off me a little
Mhm.
bit, but also like Tony like looks so bad by doing this, and also like eyes are on Carlos, so it's like it's kind of good.
Mhm.
Because everyone was like telling me everything, but I was just like acting like I didn't know about the idol. I was like, what? But then Carlos tells me like Tony's saying my name, and then I'm like, shoot. So then I'm like, I need to put in this work on Sharif to like show Sharif that Tony is untrustworthy.
Mhm.
Um, and so like me, Carlos, Lydia can like get together and like figuring out what to do. In my mind, I wanted to get out of Tony so bad the first round, and I think we could have. The only reason Tony not go is because we were like, okay, Sharif was really paranoid. Let's let him have what he wants because he already doesn't really want to blindside. You're like,
Mhm.
he's the one that's having to like make people mad at him. Like I'm getting votes. I won't owe anyone anything, but like he, will have to explain himself. So we're like, the best chance for him to actually vote with us is for him to like be able to have like the most say um in the vote. And so we just kind of agreed Bash would be the easiest vote. I
Mhm.
tried saying that we could probably use Bash for camp life, but I was at the end of the day like, if my name's out there, I am perfectly fine with any other name, especially like the fact that it was someone on the other side. So it just gets really chaotic, honestly.
So, did most of the strategizing happen that night, or were things still happening the next morning?
Um, it was chaotic for a little bit at night, and then it got like pretty dark, and then a lot happened, I feel like, the next morning.
And so, what was the Sharif's decision to have you vote Bash? Did you feel like did you want to like hey maybe vote Clark instead, or you just like Bash or whatever?
He like really, so we all kind of, so Lydia and Sharif both did not want to vote Clark. They
Mhm.
felt like Clark really tried. Um, that is so true. We did tell Sharif that we'll need a new fire guy. It was like totally uncalled for. Like I feel like that was kind of rude to be like, let's not vote someone because they like help out at camp. But anyways, um, what was your question again?
Um, the Sharif's decision to vote the vote Bash, you had no issue with it.
Oh, so Lydia did not want to vote Clark out, and neither did Sharif, because they felt like Clark had really like shown up for that challenge,
Mhm.
and it was a mess of a challenge, and like it just didn't really sit right to vote him out first.
Mhm.
So it really only came down to like Bash or Tony. Um, I didn't really know why people were like so anti-Clark, which like I was like, all right, noted. But I was like, okay, Bash or Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted Tony, but I was like not gonna push too hard. And I think we agreed that like we have to do what Sharif wants, or like Sharif is not going to be with us. So
Yeah.
that's how it ultimately landed on Bash.
Um, yeah. So Bash ends up going home 4-3. What was it like when you saw? How confident were you in Sharif, and what was it like when you saw your name come out on votes?
I was confident. I literally was like, I am not letting him have any more conversations about me. So I kind of just like stayed close. And so I was like, I feel confident. Told Carlos, I was like, I don't think you have to play your idol, which was like hard for me because I was just like, you never know. But I was just like, if you're in the losing
Mm-hmm.
side, anyways, it's gonna be better. I was thinking, I don't even know if I said this, but I was like, I remember thinking like he's gonna need that idol if he flips into the
Mm-hmm.
minority. So it was just like I was like, we're gonna be fine, because if we weren't gonna be fine, I feel like I wouldn't know so much about their plan to get me out. And Sharif had told me about the plan. So at that point I was like, he would not tell me about that if
So
he was
Bash
voting me.
Bash goes out. So Sharif votes with you. What is the fallouts when you get back to camp?
Okay, before we even get back to camp, immediately after, Tony was like, oh, what a masterminded plan. I was like, who are you to say that? You try to mastermind a plan against me. Like, I like kind of arguing with people a little bit, and I get to in these games. And so I was
Wait,
like,
hold on. The
no.
lawyer loves arguing with people.
I was like, we are not going to do these comments because you try to mastermind a plan against me. So, like, if how are you going to get mad that you're,
Mhm.
but you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, don't. And it just kind of turned this thing because, like, at first, I think Tony was just like, so I just screwed up. He started pointing fingers at literally everyone. And I was just like thinking to myself, like, Tony, like, just own your freaking move, because like you're just gonna rub more people the wrong way by like saying that
Mhm.
this is everyone's fault but yourself. Like you kind of made a decision, like you need to just like own it at this point. Like it's like weird to be like, I did this because they did this. Like, no, you did this because like you thought that was a plan, you thought it was
Mhm.
gonna work, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like sometimes your vote, like your plans just like don't work and you're not on the right set of numbers.
Mhm.
But I thought it was funny that he immediately was like, whoa, like what, this whole masterminded plan. I was just like, I voted who I told Tony I was voting Bash. So I was just like, who masterminded the plan? Because I told you who I was voting, and you said you were doing the same. So it just turned into a heated argument for a while back at camp. But I was just like, this is so good for me because I owe nothing to those people anymore, and
Mhm.
like I needed people to owe nothing to, and so like I just like switched them from the, oh, I got to be careful with, to the, oh, I can screw over and it's fine.
Well, you have your next immunity challenge, and this is the blindfold challenge. What station were you at?
I was at um I was with Lydia at the puzzle. We had to put like the alphabet
Mhm.
together.
How did that go?
We killed it together. Like honestly, like I thought, I was just like, man, like we worked so well together. Like we just honestly really synced. In that challenge, we just had to come up from behind because Carlos was like running around at camp or at his part. It was, we had to play catch up. So
Well, unfortunately, your tribe loses this challenge as well, and so you go back to camp to strategize before tribal council. Are things cut and dry this time, or are things more chaotic?
it was like pretty cut and dry. It was weird. I was honestly leading both Tony and Clark on more than I should have, but I just like didn't really know. And I was just like, all right, Tony's gone. Like, this is gonna be so good. Finally, Tony can go. He was doing too much. But then again, we just like, we're all worried about Sharif's paranoia, because who knows what Sharif's gonna do if Sharif truly wasn't happy with the vote. And so he just had this weird thing, like he still wanted to work with Tony, I guess. I don't know. So I was just like, no, like we are putting our foot down this time. Like we have the numbers. We don't need, but then it'll tie. So then we're like, I guess we will like take everyone's opinion into consideration. And then it just ended up being, what can we do so Sharif doesn't
Hmm.
fall off the deep end and not work with us? And so we
Hmm.
end up voting Clark. And Clark had some like he had nice things to say about everyone but me. And the thing was, like, I did nothing to Clark. I tried working with him.
Mhm,
So for him to come at me for his like preconceived notion of me before the game was just like really weird energy.
mhm.
And he's like, congrats, she's gonna win. And I was just like, haha. But I was just like, but it was just like, I feel like everyone says that to me, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's just weird to me.
So Clark goes home in a 3-2 vote. Is there any world where you flip and you vote out Tony instead of Clark for voting out
Oh, I
Clark?
would have loved to.
Were you
100%,
tempted?
I would have voted Tony. Um, I just needed to vote with who I said I was going to vote at that point.
Gotcha. So this takes you to your third immunity challenge, and this is the gross food challenge. What did you end up eating? Oh wait, yeah, no, this is good. I remember
Okay.
what you ate. Tell us about your love of onions.
I was at camp telling everyone I will eat anything but a raw onion over and over and over. I will eat anything gross. I don't care. I'll do it. I can eat anything but a raw onion. I literally said that so many
Which, to be
times.
fair, I've never seen that in a gross food challenge, so I think that's a pretty fair thing. So I can do everything but raw onion.
I hate onion. I've always hated onion. Hated it from the like I've never liked onions. Like I can do cooked onions, but not raw. I cannot do it. And so then we get there, and so I'm kind of just letting everyone go when they want to go. Like I'm like, it's fine. And then it gets to me, and not only is it raw onion, it's like half of a giant raw onion. And so I have this like really sick strategy where I was like, I'm just gonna chew it and spit it on a plate and like drink it so it's easy to get down, because like it was like an apple. Like I tried to take a big bite and like plug my nose. It was just like a lot to chew. Which it kind of showed like Corey ate it like an apple, but like it looking over, I think it was Austin who I was competing against. He was struggling too. I think it was just the quantity.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw it and I was like, you have to be kidding me. Like I feel like I'm being punked right now. Like they totally just did this on purpose. I'm sure they didn't, but I was like, but I did try. I tried.
Your
So
tribe does end up
gross.
winning this.
Yeah.
Do you wish your tribe had lost and gone back to tribal council?
Yeah, actually. I would not have cared.
Do you conform to the Amber and Reynolds philosophy of just lose every challenge and vote people out?
No, I love to win. I will always take a guaranteed round of safety over anything.
Mhm.
But at that point, like had we lost, I would have been fine. I think we would have been fine. My only Yeah, I would have liked to think we were fine.
Well, you'd have a majority of 3 unless Carlos or Lydia decided to vote you out, right?
Lydia, would you vote me out right then? Let
But
me
I
know in
imagine
the
you voted
comments.
Tony then.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that Tony and Sharif would have voted me. So I was happy that we won too.
So what was like back at camp not going to tribal council the first time that day?
Oh, so nice. It was like, oh, this is what you do when you don't lose. We got to actually
That's her thing.
breathe.
She votes for Tony.
Right. So I would have been fine with Tony going, obviously. He was just like, our game's not align after he like thought I was like not for an alliance, which like it wasn't my favorite alliance, but like I was down for like the 3 of us other than him in the alliance. So like, I don't know. I just don't like my name being out.
I mean, I think that every player feels that way. Once it's out, it's hard to get back into the box.
Right.
So how much are you thinking or talking about potential tribe swaps?
We think that it's coming soon. We're like, it's going to happen in the morning. We knew it was coming. They were only going to let us dwindle for so long. But then there was also the concern that like maybe there's not a swap in like, new Survivor era.
Mhm.
Maybe they just swap a few people. But I was ready for a swap. Definitely.
Well, you get to the next challenge and you see that Nate was voted out. What was your reaction to seeing that?
I was like, what? But also I was like, I kind of expected. I thought that maybe they could come together on Nate. I kind of figured that like it was gonna be Josh because everyone else had been on production. So then when I kind of learned the circumstances, it made sense.
Well, you get the challenge and you actually do get tribe swap right before the challenge, and you end up on the red tribe still. So you don't switch tribes, but You have a brand new tribe of people. What did you think looking at your new tribe?
I was nervous. We got, let's see, it was me, Lydia, Amber Reynolds, Todd, Megan, Brent, and Adam.
Todd, Carly, Amber Reynolds, Josh, you, Brent, Lydia.
Oh, there's a lot of people. Who am I thinking of? Did we swap again? I don't know. Wait, say it one more time.
So you get Todd and Carly from the yellow
Yeah.
tribe, Amber Reynolds from the blue tribe, uh, Adam comes from the yellow tribe as well, Josh from the blue tribe, and you keep Lydia from your red tribe.
We didn't have Brent.
You do have
Did
Brent
we?
too. Sorry.
Okay. So I think I said, yeah.
Yeah. So you have 4 yellow, right? Brent, Adam, Todd, and Carly. You have 3 blue with Josh, Amber Reynolds, and then you and Lydia from red.
I was nervous on the swap tribe, but I was so ready. I was like super excited with Reynolds and Amber, and I was like, no way. But also I was like, uh-oh. Because I don't know. I was like, the yellow like could literally just pick us off.
Mhm.
And it was hard because when I walked into the house, I was like, I wanted to work with Josh, just when I wanted to work with. And I really like the people I didn't know. Like when I saw Brett and Adam, I was like, oh my God, I know I'm gonna vibe with these people. I hope I start with them. And I didn't start with either of them
Mhm.
or Josh.
Mhm.
So it was just like a really weird situation. And then there's Carly. Carly and I vibed at season 10. So it's just like it was good for me. I think I could have really stayed hidden if I wasn't with Reynolds and Amber, and I knew that they were gonna be a target. And also it was the way that I was gonna have to vote out someone that like I was wanting to work with. So that's why I was nervous, because I knew I could have been well hidden if it weren't for Reynolds and Amber.
So do you wish you'd been in the blue tribe? You were swapping the other tribe?
Let's see who's all on the start of the swap tribe.
So you would have been with Austin, Megan, Carlos, Tony, Sharif, Skylar, Frank, Corey, and May. Pick one of them and swap. So let's say, I don't know, instead of Carlos, you're on that tribe.
Instead of Carlos?
Or maybe instead of Carlos, maybe it's instead of Tony, you're on that tribe. I don't know.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Yeah, I think that, yeah. I feel like Corey was maybe an obvious boot over there, and I felt like I would have been able to stay hidden, but I didn't know how, like, for long term, that tribe would have been scary. But this side, short term, was scary. So either of the swaps were like, ooh.
So you have that immediate immunity challenge where you have to stack those blocks while holding onto the ropes in that floating platform. How was this challenge for you?
Good. I volunteered immediately to be in like the main one because I had done it before. My tribe had won in season 9. And so it was so we had our 2 groups, and our strategy was to just one group's the main group, but you had to alternate. So the other group that we had was just going to drop immediately and we'd come back.
Yeah.
And so it was me, Todd, Josh, and either Adam or Brent. So I was kind of like the only girl, and I was like a little bit nervous that they were going to like pull too hard and like I was going to be the reason we lost. But I also was like pretty confident that we could win. I was like, it kind of felt good to be part of like the group that did it.
Well, your tribe wins. You head back to your new camp. How was it? How was that evening with all the new people?
It was good, except I literally like made such strong connections with everyone where I was like, I said that this is literally the perfect swap for me unless we lose. I was so good with everyone. I really felt like I was. Like I finally got to meet Adam and Brent, and I was like, I've been waiting. Like Adam's got these great one-liners. Brent was good. I was nervous with Brent, and I knew that he was well insulated, so I like had that in the back of my mind. I was ready to like, I don't know. I was ready to like see Reynolds and Amber from a distance. Like we like were trying not to be stupid together, but it was really hard. So yeah, I stand by that. It was the perfect swap for me until we lost.
What'd you talk with Josh about?
So Josh and I told Josh, I was like, I'm so excited to be back together. I was just like, I got you. And Josh and I like knew that like we could work well together because I felt like Josh is always gonna be a numbers guy. He's not afraid to make a move and be chaotic. So I was excited, but I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know where Josh stood. And a lot of times when he was sleeping, I felt like he wasn't really sleeping. He might have been. To this day, I won't know. But I would still never have conversations by him while he was sleeping because I was like, I feel like he's listening because Josh is just so smart. But we like talked about everything. I was just like, we have options here. He knew that both sides kind of wanted me.
Mhm.
And he kind of was in the same spot. So I was like, I'll do what you do. Um, in hopes that maybe I could blame him if things went south for me. But I was like wanting to work with him, but it was just tough. It was like literally I wanted to work with everyone on the tribe. It was
Was it
weird.
hard because like Amber Reynolds had just tried to vote him out, and he had to play a shot in the dark, and there's just this distrust between them as a
Oh, I didn't
result.
even think about that. That's why they were like, he's never gonna work with us.
What about Carly? What did you talk with her about?
Carly and I just like talked and vibed like on a personal level, and it was really hard because she and I we're gonna do this, and I really did want to. It was just like the fact that like I had like decided that I was like gonna put my friends first this game, which like sounds bad,
Mhm.
and it's not that I was like I was still playing. I was still playing to play. I wanted to get to the end. I just felt like if it was a close call for me, I was going to ultimately save my friends and do what I could and do the damage control after. So I was just playing a very different game. Whereas, like, if I see a time where I can play safe and hide, I will. And, like, in this tribe, losing or having conversations was just really hard because I was making a lot of promises. I was making people feel really good about me, and I just was so scared for when we lost.
And you finally reunited with the Todd father. How was talking with him again?
Timing was nice. I was just like, we're gonna do it this time. Like, this is good. I just kept saying stuff like that. And like that's when I was just like, I need to stop doing this. But like you want to like be in like, the good graces of like as many people as you can because like you never know like who you will need in a vote.
Hmm.
I just like after like talking to everyone, I remember thinking, I was like, this is so bad. Like I've made like way too many people feel comfortable.
How was the rest of that third night on this new tribe?
It was nice. I like that we no longer had enough room under like our tarp stuff. So Reynolds and I kind of slept close to the fire and it was so bad because we were like we were like told each other we're like we're not gonna sleep anywhere close to each other because we know it's gonna be bad. And wait, Liddy, was this the night with like the spider? I'm sure you've heard all about it, so I won't get into it crazy. The pants spider. But I believe Reynolds and I like slept by each other. And then Adam got cold, so he kind of joined in and he was making jokes. We were like laughing, but like Reynolds and I like we were sitting like back to back, and I was like poking him. And
The spider was
oh,
night one.
oh, you're right, because Tony shook the pants. Yeah, that night was fun. Like we were all making jokes and stuff, but I remember like I was saying we're gonna get voted out. Everyone's gonna see that we're close. Plus, like people like saw Reynolds to be handlers. Like this was nothing new. Like I felt like everyone had the information to know that I was close with Reynolds and Amber, and just kind of were ignoring it.
So who do you want to see get voted out from the other tribe?
From the other tribe,
Yeah.
Tony.
So you get to the immunity challenge the next day and you see that May has been voted out.
I was like not surprised really. I like was a little bit, but not really. I've never been on a tribe with her, but I like she's like a very like headstrong person too. So like I was just like people are probably either like they love her or she's not their cup of tea. And I just was like when I saw her out, I was like, yeah, like I could have seen that.
Your first immunity challenge that day is you have to transport pool balls on boards with rope, and then there's an octagon puzzle at the very end that Josh does against Austin.
Yeah, so I decided to be the person like carrying the ball over on the paddle.
Mhm.
That was the role I had in season 9 when I did it. And I feel like I'm really good at like talking and like kind of I was like helping communicate for the people who had not done it. And so I felt like I was really good to the guys,
Mhm.
be like this, kind of do it here. And I could run back and forth and like I could like run with the ball on the paddle and not fall. And it was like a short role, but it was also like I didn't have to worry about like not seeing behind me and like stepping in like a hole or something and like tweaking my knee or anything. So I was like, it's a safe role to have. Also, like I can't lose the challenge really for us. So I was happy doing that.
Yeah, and your tribe wins the challenge.
Hmm.
And then the next mini challenge, you see that Corey's been voted out.
So I played my very first live game with Corey.
Mm-hmm.
He's so chaotic. He's fun.
What game was that?
Home for the holidays.
Oh, that's right. I didn't really. That was your first game?
Yeah.
I thought. Oh, that's interesting. It's the reason I thought Reelfoot was.
Nope. So I won Home for the Holidays, and that was like Big Brother style, and then Reelfoot was my second.
Gotcha.
Um, I
That's because
knew.
you and Mike became an issue because we were like, oh my gosh, they know each other because Jericho had
Yes.
people information.
Yes. And Jerica played too.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew Corey's time was probably coming, and it's probably good because Corey was messaging me like me and you, me and you, me and you. But I like had no idea. Like if he was gonna play he was first boot at Home for the Holidays. When I played, I just didn't really know how. I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
was probably gonna have to vote him out. I didn't want to. I might have thrown a vote, but when I saw he was out, I wasn't surprised.
So this next challenge is you have to navigate balls to a table maze and solve the table maze. Did you compete in this
Yes.
challenge?
Yes, I did the chicken wire.
Mm-hmm.
Done that before. I was confident, and Josh kind of told everyone what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. So I was like, I'll let him dictate that in case it goes wrong. So it was fine. And because I've done the grappling hook before, so I was like, I can do this.
So you're kind of midway through day 4. You just won your third immunity challenge as this tribe. How are you feeling about the tribe dynamics at this point for your tribe?
I kind of been thinking the same thing. I'm like, this is perfect, but like my conversations with people are getting deeper and deeper,
Mm-hmm.
and I like knew that Brian Allen had no idea I was like that close with Amber Reynolds. Like they're really getting deep with me. We're like making like alliances, and like I was all about him. I just knew like it was gonna go so bad for me, like when it did, and I like was so scared that was coming. But I was like, all right, let's just win our way out.
So if your tribe lost, did you have an idea of how you wanted to vote or who you wanted to vote?
I actually would have wanted to vote Todd.
Why?
Because so I would have wanted to probably vote Todd or Brent. Brent, I really wanted to work with, but I thought he was a bigger threat.
Mm-hmm.
Todd, because I felt like at that point, like he's just very like team strong from the start. So like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't start with him. I thought that he would be like an easy one to go. And then the only other person I thought maybe people would have trash on was Josh.
And when you're talking with Adam, for instance, or Brent or Carly, are you throwing like Brent or Todd's name out, or are they throwing out like Amber and Reynolds? And you're saying, yeah, totally, let's do it.
Yeah, I was kind of doing the latter to that.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of just like, I really don't want to vote them. And they're like, well, who? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like fine with it. And so I don't know. Yeah, I said I was going to do it.
Yeah. So with May and Corey out, are you still hoping that Tony's the next person voted out?
Of course.
So you get to the next challenge, and even before then, there's a sense that Frank's been voted out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, what was that? What was your reaction to seeing Frank out of the game?
I was like, damn. Like, I literally have never really. I've like was with him that one round, but I've never gotten a chance to actually work with Frank. And like, I knew that we would have worked together this game, at least for a bit. But I was like, that is not good for my long game. I felt like I just felt like yellow team was like really strong and like a good mix of people and like original yellow. So I was just like, ooh, we should hopefully win. But I was just like getting nervous for Carlos too, but I knew Carlos was the idol, so I don't know.
Yeah, so other players in your tribe have other visible reactions that to that elimination too.
Yeah. So Lydia and Frank have had this goal to play a game together, and they have never had that chance. Like they have been in the same game twice and have not been able to play a single round together. So I completely understood Lydia's like reaction. I did not understand Amber and Frank's dynamic as much. So when all of it started going chaotic and crazy, I was like, we are going to lose this challenge. And I'm sitting out of it, like comforting people. I was comforting Lydia, so we were the two sit outs. But I was just like, Amber, like, you need to get in this. Like, I just was like, when we, like, people on my side both were like so visibly upset that someone's gone, like, all eyes are going to shift to these people. So I knew all eyes were going to be on Lydia and Amber and like, why are they so upset? Like, what was the dynamic? What's going on? So I was like, we have to win this.
And unfortunately, you have your first loss with the swap tribe.
Yeah.
And so,
Yep.
what happens when we get back at camp after this challenge?
It's kind of a blur at this point. It's been a while, but all I know
That's on
is,
me.
yeah, no, you have real life stuff too. Like, I don't know. I couldn't tell at first if like what Amber was doing, like if she was like actually upset, but then it was definitely a ploy. And so then I was like, okay. And they want to vote out Brent. I was just like, okay. And then the other side wanted to vote out Amber Reynolds. I was like, fine. But then it put me in a weird spot where I was like, I know an idol's going to be used. Where do I vote to do the least amount of damage control? And because like at first they like wanted, I don't know, they wanted to go all in Amber, and then they were gonna let her quit, and they want to go on Lydia, which was or Reynolds. Like they just like couldn't make up their mind. But I don't think they were never going for Reynolds. It was always Amber, with maybe throwing a few votes on Lydia. That round was just a mess. When we got to tribal, I made it a live tribal. Trying to, because I really wanted to vote Todd, and because I was talking to Reynolds, I was just like, you know, like, play your idol. They're voting Amber. It just got so messy. It got so messy, and it sucked because Lydia was the last person that should have gone home that round because she wasn't causing any of the chaos. So it just really sucked that, like, not only did they play an idol on Reynolds, which I said not to, but Lydia literally left, and Brent successfully played an idol. So it was bad. And I was trying to say it's because I really, like, a lot of stuff was going on. So I was going to try and chalk it up to that, but I knew that I was going to be in hot water after that one.
So was there any suspicion that Brent had an idol? Or just let's
I
hope it doesn't?
thought he might. I wasn't for sure. I thought him or Megan had it. But I really was like, I don't think Todd has it. And I was just like, Todd's such a safe vote. Like, let's vote Todd. And it amidst the live tribal chaos, it really, like, Amber really wanted to vote Brent. She had some sort of vendetta about Brent from their last game. I don't know. So just like, okay. But I just, like, I was just like thinking, I was like, what do I do? Like, if is Amber playing Island herself, I should just vote her. But I didn't want Lydia to go because if they think I'm splitting votes and I'm an Amber vote and I vote, they're going to have enough votes on Lydia. And so I was like, all right, we're voting Brent. Like, we're doing this. And then Brent whiffs out the idol, and the last person to go home went home. And I was so sad. I was like, I should have went before Lydia. Like, I just felt horrible.
So, talk to me about your choice to vote for Brent at Tribal Council. Was it just because you did not want to write down Amber and Lydia's name?
No, I was never writing down Lydia's name that round. I was trying to figure out if I should write down Amber's name because she had an idol to give off the appearance that I was voting with that side because I was getting so much intel. Because I knew, like, they're gonna be able to count. They're gonna know who, like, if someone in that group did not vote with them, they knew it was probably me. It was not gonna be that hard to figure out. So I was just like, I don't know what to do. And so, like, that's why I'm, like, running around talking to people. And it, like, kind of caused, it was just a mess. Like, it was the whole thing of, like, Amber's antics should have gotten her out that round, honestly. She kind of, like, I love her to death. And it was kind of, like, a little funny at first. But then, like, she went so deep with that. I was like, this is so bad. But I wasn't gonna vote her, so I just had to go with Brent.
It's Lydia's kind of doomed here with the Brent vote, right? Because Brent's playing his idol. I mean, with Amber playing her idol for Reynolds, if you vote for Amber likely goes out in the revote, I guess.
Right? Yeah. Amber would have gone out in the revote for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like a weird thing where I was like, I didn't really know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it just sucked that the option of splitting was like on Lydia, but like who they were, their options at that point from that group was
Not
going to
you.
be it. But like that's what I'm saying. It was
Yeah.
either it was my three closest allies,
Mm-hmm.
two of which are being chaotic as shit, and the other one was the casualty.
Mm-hmm. Would your game, you think, have been better if Amber goes home instead of Lydia? Because you
100%. I just like we were gonna be like such a visible
mm-hmm.
threesome or even like a foursome with Carlos. Like her going, not like if I wasn't having anything to do with it, but her going would have been great for my game. Not great, but it would have been like, I don't know, it would have helped, I think.
What's the follow-up back at camp that night?
I was like upset. Like at first I kind of was like pretending to be more upset than I was, but then I was like actually upset. Just because I felt bad, because I literally was just like, I literally had to burn all the bridges with these people that I wanted to work with. Um, like I have people actually really upset with me. I was really like upset that Lydia went. Like I was like not expecting that at all. So I just was like, I am so screwed. And I was just like, I was apologizing because like I really didn't mean it. Like it kind of sucked for me because I was doing these moves kind of based on like, like these aren't just friends,
Yeah.
some friends play together and friends vote each other out. Like these were like really close friends of mine. So I just felt like I truly felt bad for what I was doing. And so like I just felt like I just went back and kind of was trying to explain like but also like I had to remember I was still in the game too. So I was just like trying to say like, like I kind of was being told different things and like,
Mm-hmm.
like these are my friends. It was just like a really weird situation. Like that's when the game kind of like it didn't feel that fun
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff like that because I don't know. It was weird.
How was sleeping that night?
Um it was fine. It was fine, I guess. People were like really nice about it. Like when I was talking to Brian's like, I'm here, we've gotten idle out of the game. So like it was good. It was just I don't know. I was probably more in my head than anything. Like I just felt like I don't know. I was really feeling for Lydia and I was just like kind of like an emotional wreck just because I was just like so conflicted on like the game I could be playing versus the game that I am playing. So
Well, with 14 players left, are you hoping the merge is soon, or are you hoping
yes.
that?
I'm really wanting the merge to be soon.
So the next morning, you learn you have to earn the merge, and you have to compete in a dexterity, an endurance, or a memory challenge to make you win the merge. Else, the losing 7 players will go to the next tribal council. What goes down here for you?
At first, it's I need to freaking win this,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's I have an alliance of 4 people. You can't really guarantee you'll win. You'll all win, but you can't guarantee you'll all lose. And so once I think Reynolds, I don't know who said it first. One of them mentioned, I was just like, yes, like that is what we're doing. We're
Mm-hmm.
doing this. We're all losing because like it would have been nice to all be safe. But then you know what? Like if we all lose, but we have the numbers, it's always scary going to tribal.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's like we can literally control whoever goes. So who cares about the challenge? It was so bad. I landed my first 3 of my 4 bean bags immediately, and I was just like looking over, like, can someone win this? And then I like throw it, and it like goes so far. Like it was such a clear and obvious like throw, and I was just like, I hope no one saw that because they're gonna know I was throwing it. And so then, so Reynolds and I lose that, and
Mhm.
then Megan joins us, and I'm like, yes, like I get to finally work with Megan, but then we're all sitting and like we got kind of sequestered based on the challenge we did. And so us 3 were sitting in there, not knowing who the other 4, well, we knew Reynolds and I knew who 2 of the other people were going to be, but we're like, I didn't know who the other like
Mhm.
two of the minority three were going to be there. We were like, I was like, okay, hopefully it's like, like Tony or like someone I want out. But it is literally Adam and Brent. And so the three are Adam, Brent, and Megan. And I'm like, the three people I really wanted to work with Adam and Brent again. We have Megan, who like I was like from the start, like it was kind of cool to work together for a bit. She's good, like girl power. But then I was just like, I literally had to vote one of them out, and I just did so much damage control with Adam and Brent. And so I honestly was I kind of threw out Megan's name because I didn't want to like 2 rounds in a row. Like I was not trying to be like the person with all the blood on their hands. But no one wanted to Megan. And so then I was just like, it was so rough because we get to losers camp and there's an idol hidden. So we're all mad dashing for that. Well, luckily Amber finds it. So now we have like 3 idols between us, the 4 of us. So I was just like, we are saying so pretty, but like everyone's gonna be so pissed at us.
So in your ideal world, who have been the 3 losers to join you, Carlos, Amber, and Reynolds? I think I know 2 of the names. I'm not sure who the total 3 would be.
Who's the second one? Todd, Tony.
Yeah, I don't know who you would put third.
Let me see. Todd, Tony, and maybe Josh.
Really?
Not that I want him to go, but thought we could vote together.
Okay, I like that. So Amber finds the idol pretty soon. What ends up being, this looks like on paper it's a complex round with like it's a 3-3-2. How does the strategy evolve in losers camp?
I get pulled into a 4-person alliance with me, Megan, Adam, and Brent. And they're like, we're gonna be such a solid 4. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, it sucked because I had just done so much damage control, telling them I'm gonna like make this up to you, and I did genuinely mean that. Like I wanted to make it up to them, but it was just like worst case scenario. Like I literally I was like, I'm not gonna be able to make it up to these people. Well, I could have if I voted out Megan, but they like Megan and Brent were so close. So like whoever went there was like not good. Like I thought that Megan would have been a good person to go to because like everyone loves Megan. Like she's a great player. Brent is like very good challenge wise. Like he's gonna be clocked. And then like, I don't know. So I just felt like either one of them, like if Megan or Brent went, like Adam would be closer to me a little bit. I would be able to show him. I don't know. But I just knew that of course they're like throwing out Reynolds and Amber, and I'm just like having to go with it. Carlos is like in on the plan too, but Carlos actually got to like he threw on Reynolds to like save face. So like I just remember saying I was just like I was just like, how come it's always me that has to get the blood on their hands? Like whatever, so be it, I guess. But like you guys have to know that it's like I've had to be the one that always like I always give up, like I always like back down on all these decisions, like their options, but like I don't know. I was getting a little bit frustrated, but I was like, whatever. Like, it's fine.
So Carlos votes for Reynolds, and so Amber and Reynolds get 2 votes apiece, and you flip and vote out Brent with Amber and Reynolds. And so you publicly get the blood in your hands while Carlos continues to stay on the download, and will stay on the download for another 2 days almost.
Yeah, and I can't even remember what the cover-up was. It was that I thought I was supposed to be voting. I don't know. It was like not a bad cover up. It was probably a little fishy, but I felt so horrible for Brent. Like I was just like, he probably like is never gonna want to see my face again. Like I just told him I was gonna do X, Y, and Z, and I've done anything but. And so I don't know. I just felt like this game was just really weird for me because I felt like I was making good moves. I didn't really feel great about them because they're not really moves I was wanting to make. I felt like they were moves I kind of had to make for where I wanted my end game to be, but like in the moment, they weren't really moves I wanted to make, and I don't think they were really helping me all that much.
Well, after Brent goes home, you officially make the merge tribe, and you get your merge feast.
Yeah. We get some good old Zaxby's, and I'm sure a lot of you saw the reel where I saw Sharif find the idol clue and look at the camera. Um, that was fun. It turned into a whole lot of chaos, but to start, basically what happened from my perspective, I see him get this clue, and I'm just like, all right, when's he gonna tell me about it? Like, he better tell me about it because we're like close allies, right?
Mhm.
And so I just felt like he was like kind of avoiding me a little bit. And I wasn't, so I thought maybe Todd had seen, but I wasn't sure. But I was like, here, this is what I can do for some damage control to build some trust with Todd. I'll tell him about Sharif's idol clue because I feel like Todd, I don't know. I didn't think Todd was gonna be that loose lipped. I thought he was kind of a safe person to tell. So I tell Todd about the clue that Sharif found a clue. And Sharif, paranoid as ever because he found a clue, and probably knew that I saw it. I think he saw that I was talking to Todd. Um, and so then I think he goes over to Todd, and Todd didn't realize that like maybe he wasn't supposed to know. And so he finds out that I tell like Todd basically like he's like, who did you hear about the clue from? Megan or Taylor? He's like Taylor. And so then Sharif like storms up to me and like camp, and it's so sad there were like no, there's no prod members for all of this chaos. He like storms up to me like definitely in front of people, and like, this is why like I can't trust you and stuff. And I was just like, you can't trust me? You were gonna vote me around too, which was just like kind of like I was like, you're not gonna come at me. Um, and it was like stupid me to say. And then Carlos like, do this later, like stop, like you guys are in front of people, which he was right. But I was just like, whatever. I didn't find the clue. Like, not my problem. Like, I was like, I'll tell everyone.
Mhm.
I was just like kind of trying to be a little bit chaotic, and it definitely backfired more than I thought it would. And so it just starts this mad idol hunt for this idol. Like everyone pretty much knows what the clue is. I don't. Well, everyone knows there's a clue. I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people know what the clue is. Like with an X, it's like something like X marks the spot or something like
Mhm.
that, and by a tree. Everyone is looking for this idol clue. Like it is like a mad dash, and I'm just standing there like, oh my gosh. No one's really talking to like me, Reynolds, or Amber. Everyone's like pretty pissed that Brent went, which I'm like trying to like make it make sense myself because I'm like, shouldn't people realize if everyone is sad that someone's gone, that's probably good that they're gone? Like that just like shows like the freaking like position they were in. But I understood it too. But anyways, no one's really talking to us. Everyone's dashing, and I'm just like, I decided I probably should like chill a little bit after that. So I'm like sitting under on the tarp.
Mhm.
People start settling down. Finally, things start to chill. Some people are still like breaking a fire with like Todd's tending the fire. It's like me, Skylar, Austin, maybe Carly under the tent,
Mhm.
and Todd is like working on the fire. Sharif like walks over. I could like see like their feet only because we had like a cover, like you can't really see out. Reynolds is like behind me, climbing up this dang tree stand, and someone yells to Reynolds and is like, "What you doing, Reynolds?" He said, "Oh, nothing. Just looking for the X." And I had just told Sharif, like I hadn't told anyone else. Like I just it when I tell you everything got so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. Like I was like sitting there like, oh my God, Reynolds, like why did you do that? Like why? He comes down and he's like, what are you doing? And we're just sitting there, like both of us like crying, laughing, but trying not to laugh because we just knew it was so bad. Like everyone was already so heated at us, but like I feel like we at that point, like it's a game, but we could like separate the game and know it was like stupid or funny of us. Um, so it was just like I don't know. It got real quiet, and I was just like, "We are gonna have to work," but like we still hunt through idols, so I was like, "We are not going anywhere. None of us are." So it was like good because like we were in a bad spot, but like things were still going to go our way.
Mhm. You're meeting Austin for the first time, right?
Yes, yes. And Austin gave me absolutely nothing. And that's when I came and I was like really wanting to work with him. And as soon as he really didn't like, he was like a smile and nod guy. And I'm like thinking to myself, you can't be a smile and nod guy because I'm a smile and nod guy. And I know what that means. I'm like, he's in a good spot. He's in a good spot. And I was just like, I need him on my side, but I was just like, he's not going to make any waves at this point in the game. I could just tell he was just sitting pretty.
How concerned are you feeling, given that you feel like people aren't talking to you, Amber Reynolds?
I was a little bit concerned. I thought maybe one of them might go first. I knew my name was definitely going to probably get votes or be out there, but I still felt like I'm really good at under pressure, and I felt like we could use the chaos to make a move.
Mm-hmm.
So if like people are splitting on us, it'd be a great opportunity. So I was definitely still like, we're fine.
You have your first individual immunity challenge. This is where you're stacking the blocks and holding them up as kind of an endurance balance challenge.
And I almost won. I will say that is a horrible challenge to not have a guy and a girl winner because wingspan, like I'm only gonna be able to stack so many blocks. Like height really definitely comes into play here. So I just felt like I really killed it. And so I was really proud because I almost had it. But I still, that challenge is a little weird to not have like, I think they did have a guy and a girl winner for that before. So
I like this comment from Parker that someone needs to add smile and nod guide to the Survivor lexicon.
yes.
So soon after this challenge, you are alerted of a personal emergency. That means you have to leave the game.
Yeah, super, super emotional moment because I was not ready to leave. I like never was gonna be ready to leave. And so it just like I don't quit things. So it just like it was just like a gut punch and I was crying and Prod was like super there for me and I was just like I have to go. I don't know. It was just, I had a family emergency back home. I know a lot of people thought it was like a wedding, which I like that had nothing to do with the message that I got. And so family will always come first, or real life things always come first in these games. It just was really hard because, like you you like play hard and these games mean a lot. And I was playing this game with some like great friends and people like I've met. And so it just was like a super horrible, just, I don't know, the situation, like it just wasn't a great one. I was going to leave that night, but I was like super tired. So I was going to leave the next morning and the situation kind of resolved a bit. So I was able to stay for a little bit longer, but I still stand by that. I would not have been able to finish the game because it was kind of an ongoing situation. So yeah, definitely continued my unfinished business. Was really sad that was kind of the end to my game, but I'm super happy that I got to play such a chaotic game. I feel like had, I don't know. I guess like looking back on it, the fact that I did have to leave, I'm glad I didn't sit and play so safe. Because like had I not been playing the way I did, like I think I would have been like, if I was playing my usual game, I like kind of was like building up at this point, early merge, and then I take off. But like I kind of took off so early, having my name written down and being messy and blindsiding people. Like I got to play a game I never played before. So if I did finish business, like that was I got to play a new game, but definitely did not end the way I wanted. But I will note on a positive note that I said Austin was winning when I got out. And who won? Because that's all I have to say is if you look back when I was exiting, I said, who's going to win or who do you want to win and who's going to win? I said, my baby Reynolds, who I want to win. And then who's going to win? I said, Austin, because you may not thought anyone saw you through that, but I did. So Austin should be happy that I wasn't in the game.
Well, so you do have a tribal council where you're voted out. So, you throw away your vote. You don't vote for anyone, but there is a little nonsense that happens with someone casts a stray vote to Skylar. What did you think when you saw that?
Yeah. I actually like don't even know if I like know who did that.
Carlos did.
Okay. I like was not surprised someone did it. I threw in my vote. I just didn't want any after like the antics before, I didn't want anyone to think that there were antics now. And like I had like kindly asked to get voted out instead of just like leaving. I just kind of wanted to like leave, like I had like actually left the game to kind of make myself feel like I wasn't quitting. And so I was never gonna like not vote myself. Like I could have maybe voted someone, but I was just like still in the back of my mind. I was like, what if people are trying to like do some stuff here? I was like, I
Yeah.
have to vote myself in these circumstances.
Yeah. Um, had you been on a jury, because I think in any other scenario, you do end up on a jury, given that this merge at 13, final 3, right? You could have easily had a 10-person jury. Do you know what would you have been looking for in a winner of a season like this?
I definitely like was looking for someone who, you know, won some things, made some moves, and was not playing it safe. I think Austin was a great winner.
Mhm.
I called him as the winner so early. So the fact that he did win, I was like, he's a winner. So I know some people have been like, oh, they were playing so emotional or bitter. Like I don't think Austin was a bitter like winner. Like he's not the result of not playing a winning game. No
Mhm.
one saw what he was doing. I feel like he was able to like he was laying low because he could. But I like from my experience, I knew that he had information. So like I thought maybe he had the appearance of a floater when I first like very first met. But as soon as we talked and as soon as I like observed him, I was like, no, he knows what's going on and he knows what spot he's in. So I was very happy to see he won. I, from my perspective, I didn't think Todd was winning,
Mhm.
but I thought that Megan might have some votes. I didn't really keep up as closely with the game,
Yeah.
except maybe for some like challenges and tribals because of everything going on. But Megan I felt like was playing a safer game this season. Maybe she wasn't. It felt that way from like when I was in the game. But she's also a really smart player. So like again, if she doesn't have to play super hard, why would you? Why would anyone play harder than they have to?
Mhm.
So I was very pleased with Austin being the winner. If it couldn't be like my babies, obviously, which y'all need to stop breaking up earlier than you need to.
So Josh has a comment that you had mentioned take this as a chance to cause some chaos at your vote out. Is that like how much chaos did you want to see? And like, if there's a world where somehow someone else gets the majority of votes, you don't, do you just say, hey, hold on, I need to leave this game. This is not like this is wrong.
Yeah, no, I 100% was leaving no matter what. So I hope that, like, I was going, when I said that, I wasn't meaning for like the vote to never be me. I was hoping, like, because of the circumstances, I obviously would love to see like someone
Mhm.
like plant a seed there, which like Carlos wrote Skylar down. I don't know. I guess yeah, when I said that, I wasn't really thinking about maybe what could have happened, like if there was like more chaos because it would have felt really wrong and like I don't know what would have happened because like
Mhm.
the game of Survivor, I don't know if anyone volunteers to leave for someone, but I more so I think I was meaning in terms of like the game in general, but I can see how that is like how it could have been taken as like for the tribal because I remember people being like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, no, that's not what I mean. But I just was like, I feel like I play chaotically sometimes, whether it's behind the scenes or very flashy. So I was just like, please be chaotic and not boring. And I told everyone something about the game on the way out too.
So let's say this emerge doesn't happen. The vote will take place the next morning as normal with Josh and I forget who it was the first
Todd.
immune. Josh and Todd as immune.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're the target? Do you think are you hoping Amber Reynolds takes the hit? Who are you trying to push for at this point?
I think that had my name, I think I might have gotten some votes. And I think mine and Amber's, maybe who they would have put like a split on, who I would have tried to get some votes on is Tony. I honestly like it would be a safe name for me to say because I'd already done so much. I like had I just
He
was
wrote your name
having to
down.
vote so many people that I didn't want to vote. It was time for me to vote someone who like you know, like if an idol was played and I was saved, so be it. But like I was not like screwing over someone who had been like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. I was actually able to vote someone who I wanted to vote.
Yeah, Josh predicts it's Amber Reynolds split vote and they double idol.
Yeah, that was hard because y'all would have definitely split. So I would have like I would
Mhm.
have really relied, I think, on like Skylar actually to tell us who the split was going to be on. It's like that is I would have probably relied on like Skylar
Yeah.
and Josh, to be
I,
honest.
I will also say, like, have you not, if you don't exit the game, I don't think Josh goes home at final 12. I don't think that
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
he
that
does
round happens.
either. I will say the part of me going that I feel like really sucked was I felt that Brent was robbed of a merge because of me,
Hmm.
because I left because you know we voted him out and I quit. So
Hmm.
like he literally like probably would have been that spot had like I had to leave just a little bit sooner.
Hmm.
That was something that really I felt horrible on a personal level, like not really something I could control, but I felt really bad about that.
Hmm.
And I agree about the Josh thing. I think that I would have definitely worked with Josh and like I know Josh is smart. Josh would have known he was in hot water. I think Josh would have also like he wouldn't be playing for me, but I think he would have looked out for me a little bit because I was looking out for him.
He likely maybe joins Skylar, Carly, and Austin and joins the dark side.
Exactly. The dark side is so much more fun. I think like had I not quit, like we might have lost one of me, Carlos. I don't know. Reynolds or Amber probably needed to go for me to even have a chance to not get votes. But I think like had one of our foursome went, then we would have been fine. It was
Hmm.
just they knew one of us had to go. One of our three had to go was
Yeah.
like the thing. Yeah.
So how would you like that? So what do you think would have been your best path to end game look like?
Um. So my best path probably would have been Tony, if you're watching this is like a joke at this point, but Tony going would have been good. Tony going, Todd going would have been good. I think Carly going at some point, kind of like after them would be good because I felt like I kind of burnt her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those probably were the next to go. And then after that, I feel like I'm pretty open.
Do you work with Megan and Sharif longer, or do you feel like you would have had you would have not had the end game with them?
I think I would have been scared to work with Megan since I had already lied to her once and she's not
Mm-hmm.
dumb. I don't think she'd ever fully trust me
Mm-hmm.
in that game again. Sharif would be also hard because he's just so dang paranoid and he already did not trust me. Even though I literally was like
Mm-hmm.
so loyal to him and he didn't trust me. So
Yeah.
he
Is
probably would have had to go too.
is there any other speculation you've had about the season? Had you been there?
Um, I think it would have been a different game. I mean, I'm not trying to say like I would have changed the entire game, but I think I like would have. I think that
You,
like I think one person can change a game and I feel like I like playing a fluid game and if people and I felt like this season was not like a side for side necessarily. It kind of was a little bit more fluid than we've seen. So I would say like I was ready to cause chaos so if people were ready to like jump on my stinking ship
mhm.
for a round or two and jump back off, like it could have been fun.
Did anything surprise you with how the season progressed?
Um Reynolds without 8 was in the tie. That was kind of surprising to me. And it was around too early. And I remember watching that and I was like, that was not smart.
For who?
It wasn't smart for Carlos or
Mhm.
Carly. Neither of them.
Is there anything else about the season you want to talk about that maybe we haven't talked about?
Um, just Josh, I'm sorry if I screwed you with me going when you were safe because I was like I kind of felt bad. Like I almost wish I had gotten the news before immunity because I felt like I was like, you know, when you win immunity, you can play safe, you can play chaotic, you can play whatever you want, you're safe. Um, so like I don't know, I kind of like took that away from like 2 winners, so I feel bad. But other than that, like I just hope I like didn't burn too many people the wrong way and that I like when I saw the cast, I was like I was never gonna vote out Reynolds. I was never gonna vote out Amber. And I'm sorry if I wasn't trying to lead people on that like beyond a game point. I try to keep it in the game. This was just probably like I had like the most fun. I had a lot of fun with the people, but the least amount of fun like personally game level because had the cast been a little bit different, like had us three not been in the game together, or like not all ended up together when we did, I think it would have been a lot different for me.
Do you have any personal takeaways you've taken from this game?
Um, returning seasons are like
A
they
whole
like
different beast.
traumatic. Yeah. I like am really good about like separating that stuff and I can respect a good game move, but returning seasons are they're intense. So if you're gonna play one, even if you think you're ready, you're not. So
How has the past 2 months been post Reelfoot for you?
um I still have some things going on like relating to why I had to leave, but things are getting better. This is my last summer, so I've been trying to enjoy it.
Last summer
Um,
ever. It's all only work from here on out.
I know. I keep trying to tell myself now it's like paid summer, but like you don't get as much
The
fun.
secret
So
is go into academia, get summer vacations forever and winter breaks.
noted, noted. I think just like my biggest takeaway is just, or that wasn't even the question you asked, like how things have been for me.
Uh,
Um, I
Playtime.
got a third cat. I'm stressed about work and school. Real life still happens, but I'm having fun.
Well, do you mind if we wrap up here with some rapid fire questions?
Go for it.
Do you like to play orderly or chaotic more?
Chaotic.
Who from your original season still has unfinished business?
Frank and Lydia.
And Lydia. So if you can only pick one, who from your original season would you pick?
Lydia.
Who from your current season still has unfinished business?
Brent.
What was your favorite challenge this season?
The table maze, chicken coop, whatever.
What was your favorite moment at camp?
There was probably just like honestly, I know it came post trauma of Lydia having a spider in her pants, but honestly, it was like we started like walking to the bathroom and just being like really wholesome after that. And just, I don't know, it was fun.
Who do you wish you had the chance to work with this season but didn't?
Um, I'm trying to think like who I like was not on a tribe with like at all.
You can pick someone on the tribe because there's plenty of people you want to work
Actually,
with
you
but
know,
didn't.
I'm gonna say Austin.
Who surprised you the most out there?
Uh, who surprised me the most? Carly.
What was your lowest moment of the season?
Can I give two? Eating the onion and leaving early.
What was your highest moment?
Throwing the highest moment before I realized who was there was throwing the loser camp challenge was so fun.
Shot in the dark. Love it or hate it?
Do I have to pick one of those two?
You can pick a third.
I'm indifferent, honestly, about it. It was okay.
Would you play another game?
Of course.
And as we wrap up here, is there anyone or anything or any game you want to shout out? Maybe one that you might be involved in next summer, perhaps?
I will of course give a shout out to Reelfoot. I've already given my shout out to Ascendance, and if you don't know about Apex, you will be sure to find out more. Just keep your eyes out for June of 2024.
Taylor, I'm so happy I had the opportunity to catch up with you today. It was really fun seeing you back in Reelfoot. I was also really gutted seeing you have to leave the game, but like you said, there are things more important in these games that happen, and as we sacrifice a lot to be out there and really do a lot to make sure we have the time for this, life happens, and so it goes.
Yeah. But I had lots of fun. You guys are that cast was a mess, but I'm glad it was not boring. So glad to be a part of it while I could.
Yeah. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. My deepest apologies. We didn't go for 3 hours this time, like I had promised Taylor to begin with. We almost hit 2 hours.
I asked not to hit 2 hours, so
And
we're a
we're
little bit.
barely breaking it. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. There will hopefully be more unfinished business deep dives in the future. Though we're chewing at the cast. I think we're at like what 12 or 13 players at this point.
I
So
think so.
I feel pretty good having gone over the 50% mark of the game. I think there's
Yeah,
a couple of people I want to chase down though. So we'll keep seeing how they go.
for sure. Thank you, Stephen.
All right, have a good evening, everyone.